What's up, guys? Kevin Cage here with another crypto update. We're on the World Economic Forum's website looking at Hedera, as you can see right here. We can see a decentralized enterprise-grade public network on which anyone can build secure, fair applications with near real-time finality. This platform is owned and governed by a council, the world's first enterprise DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, a DAO, with the leading organizations including Boeing, we have IBM, you have LG. They chose Hedera for NFTs, so they're using HBAR, not Ethereum. And I love ETH, but you have to understand that some of these platforms are looking for more efficient ways to process transactions. So LG also did announce, we have an article right here, they shun Ethereum, they pick Hedera for television NFTs as well. They're building an NFT marketplace called LG Art Lab that plugs right into Hedera's network. And LG has come out and said that they are building a wallet specifically for HBAR. Notice right here, LG Art Lab will only be on LG's TVs, incorporating LG's mobile crypto wallet, while Lipdo, users can purchase assets by scanning a QR code to connect their wallets. And LG has been on Hedera's governing council since 2020. And you can learn more at hedera.com and see a bunch of their governing council members. And of course, use cases, payments, tokenized assets, fraud mitigation, data compliance, identity, and tokenized assets. And remember, TOKO, T-O-K-O. And Toko is actually built on Hedera. You can see they actually took an award home for Best of Class TADS, T-A-D-S, Tokenized Debt Token Award at the TADS Awards. So you can see a few groups side by side with them. Huge groups including IBM, Deloitte, DLA Piper, which is also a governing council member. Back in September, I just wanted to point out DLA Piper on Hedera's governing council. Toko's built on Hedera. Digital asset creation engine Toko has been granted a provisional virtual assets license by Dubai's Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority. And here's another example. Back in April, actually, the HBAR Foundation commits $250 million to drawing metaverse applications to Hedera, following a $155 million DeFi fund launched at the end of March. So a lot of these things have happened this year. There's a lot of money in this ecosystem. And to be clear, nothing is guaranteed in crypto. It does not mean HBAR will succeed, but I definitely think it's more probable to succeed compared to a lot of other projects that we see today. In the 9,000 crypto assets on CoinMarketCap, there's not going to be, let's see how many there are, 21,000 cryptos in the top left. What a joke. I believe the future is going to be multi-chain. It will not just be Bitcoin, Ethereum, or XRP. There's going to be several dozen primary chains. And there's going to be a lot of cryptos that provide different utility, and some will actually complement one another. And I actually think there's just going to be bridging between these ecosystems. So I do not just pick one asset and cross my fingers. I want to hold a variety. But I'm comfortable holding my biggest positions in like 3 to 5, and then hold smaller positions in other alts. There's going to be alts that disappear. Of course, all the speculation and some of the fear going on with FTX token, their native token FTT. I retweeted some info about that. I've never used the FTX exchange, and I've never owned FTT. I did get tempted to buy it during the last bullish cycle because I saw people, showing their gains from BNB. And of course, getting into crypto in 2017, I watched BNB, I owned some, but I never bought a big bag and held long term. BNB is legitimate. It had very strong burn mechanisms. Everything per that project with the tokenomics was designed to increase the value of the token. If I get another shot seeing another token like that, I'm going to be all over it. With that being said, I would be very careful holding FTT, and I'm not promoting BNB either because it's already done a massive return. So if you have funds on any centralized exchange or FTX specifically, please be careful. On LinkedIn, it looks like Hedera has about 119 employees. And here's a quick clip from Thinking Crypto with Shane Higdon. He's the CEO of the HBAR Foundation. And what he says in this quick clip, and we'll play it, is that this year alone for 2022, the HBAR ecosystem has funded $360 million to over 175 projects. So we can see.
At over 2.5 billion transactions. So all of the things that we are doing, the amount of money we've deployed over $360 million across 175 projects since the beginning of this year. So if I look at all the things that we're doing the right things. They're up and to the right. Our account creation has more than quadrupled since we created the foundation, and it continues to grow on a daily basis. All of those things are right. And so I believe that based on that, we are going to see massive success in this network as we come out of crypto winter.
And this video is inspired by some noob on Twitter saying I'm paid by Hedera. Once again, I wish I was. I'm not paid by Hedera, Casper, Ripple, Quant, Constellation, API3. I cover these projects because I think they're fundamentally strong. I know the bear market sucks and price action stinks. This is a bear market. Looking at HBAR's price, we were talking about HBAR all the way back here. People were happy when it later went up, and we didn't know the future. I still don't. We are down here consolidating for over 100 days. During the last cycle, at least during this phase, we consolidated for over 300 days before coming from even this low, popping to that high, doing about a 20x return. Now from the all-time low price for HBAR, we can see, give or take, right there to there, you can see we've done over a 60x return. So I guess 60x, I've said in the past 50x, so my bad. But notice here, we've crashed. Other assets have at least retraced a little bit, whether it's, 9 cents, 10 cents, up to higher levels. Q&T reached the 1618, and we'll show that exactly. And that would be 30 to 40 cents for HBAR. So turning the lights on, and actually before I do that, I just want to emphasize, from the all-time high price of about 58 cents for HBAR going to this low, it's about 90%. If you consider that wick at about 4.6 cents and think that has to be filled yet again, it could be. That is a 92% drop. So turning the lights on, we can see a huge trend line all the way across. 1, 2, drawing this triangle. I know a descending triangle is typically bearish, guys. We are in a bear market. In full disclosure, I own HBAR, and I'm hoping for a speculative pump or retracement, and we can compare a few assets. So really quick, drawing a Fibonacci retracement using the March-April high to that low right there, and we're getting very close in this descending triangle. It is going to be a pop or drop moment. Could we, in fact, come all the way down to these previous levels and crash further to retest this demand zone? Absolutely. What am I betting? I'm hoping that we do, in fact, retrace a little higher, whether it's up closer to the 236, where ALGO actually just hit, and we were talking about ALGO doing this very thing. It has been slow and steady. And once again, from even back, we can just go all the way back to June, we've been in this range for over 140 days. The longer the base, potentially the higher in space. So we're going to go side by side with alts using the March-April high as clean as we can, wick to wick, okay? And now we know Q&T was the exception. It was an outlier. Huge, strong V-shaped recovery reaching the 1618. For HBAR, that would be 40 cents. Let's open up to XRP. Go to XRP, we can see the same exact fib, March-April high to the crash. We have reached the 382 Fibonacci retracement, hitting these previous wicks along with that double bottom. Right here for HBAR, we have a lot of resistance to get through. I can see that. 7 cents, we have up to 8 cents, potentially 9 cents, 10.5 cents at the 236, and then maybe 13 cents around that wick. So if we simply put a horizontal ray right on that wick, it is pretty much very close to that 382 Fibonacci retracement. Very similar to XRP. Now, let's pull up Casper. I'm just kind of giving a quick summary for anybody new to the channel. We can see that wick right at the 382, along with these wicks at the 382, that same zone. Casper approached these wicks, very close to the 382. And looking at ALGO using the same exact structure, we were talking about ALGO when it was 30 cents, 35 cents, and just saying, I personally believe that we can climb up to 50 cents. Thus far, we finally got up to the 236 at 44 cents. And there's a few catalysts. First up, ALGO is on the DMI symposium tied to OMFIF, a $43 trillion think tank side by side Ripple and a variety of central banks. Next, Algorand is the chosen blockchain partner for the FIFA World Cup, one of the biggest sporting events in the world. So there's a few catalysts and NFT marketplaces for this layer 1. So we have a wick on the 382, and notice we have a triple bottom much higher, whereas XRP's was down there. So we'll see what the future holds. I do hold ALGO for the long term. And now I'm continuing to talk about HBAR because as we can see, HBAR has yet to move. This will be the pop or drop moment. I'm hoping that HBAR pops. We can see that ALGO did that little rally, another crash and retest, and then it popped. Will HBAR be able to get a similar move? Casper reached all the way up there. XRP reached all the way up there. And then Q&T reached all the way up to the 1618. Absolutely crazy. And we can go through a bunch of assets really quick, guys. So just to emphasize, using the March-April high right there for curve. Let's do this again. We went through a bunch before. This reached the 382. Awesome. Right there where that wick is for HBAR. Let's see, API3 is fine because I do know actually using that March-April high, it reached the 382 as well. So we'll go right there, wick to wick, reach the 382. If you actually use this big high before capitulation, then we actually hit the 236 to perfection. If we look at the DAG price chart using the March-April high, same exact fib, we also reached the 382, even a little bit above it, retesting these previous wicks. And once again, to the Bitcoin maximalist on Twitter that thinks I'm paid by Hedera, I am not. Just because I start talking about it, it's because I see it significantly lower than a lot of other alts. I'm not telling you, for example, to buy Doge. I'm not telling you to buy SHIB. I never promoted any scams. I never talked about FIRE. I never talked about Strong. I never talked about SafeMoon. I have all of those hashtags blocked on Twitter, and frankly, I know next to nothing about those projects. I didn't waste my time looking into those alts. I'm focused on utility-based assets that clearly have millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars backing this ecosystem. Crypto is risky enough, so for my money, not financial advice, I'm looking for a bit more established alts that are building real solutions. Now, if you think there's more money to be made gambling in microcaps, that's completely up to you. I'm just sharing what my personal preference and risk tolerance is. Now, you can see others that haven't really performed well though, so let's show some examples of assets that really haven't performed. We have Polkadot, yet to really move up. Also AVAX, so we got a pump a while back, but we came back down, so I am eyeballing AVAX yet again. And so, I mean, you can see even doing the same March-April high, let's see, this is the March-April high, so wow, that was a big drop. But we didn't even really reach that 236. And remember that ALGO did a very similar move. It got that rally, came right back down. So let's pull up ALGO once more. See how ALGO rode up, came all the way back down yet again, then got the momentum up to the 236. We'll see if AVAX can in fact climb, maybe even Polkadot, up to these higher levels. And here's an example of Dogecoin on the right, whereas we have HBAR on the left doing absolutely nothing. So Doge, from that wick, from about 5.5 cents, climbed all the way up to almost 16 cents, 180% up, well over a 2x return. Turning the lights on and looking at the same Fibonacci retracement using that March-April high to the low, reaching the 786. Which other assets reached that level? Ethereum Classic. And also, because I forgot, we can see HBAR from the high crashed 90%. We can see that ALGO from that high, not that a liquidity wick, crashed about 89-90%, along with Quant doing a very similar thing before we finally got that retracement. And this is what we've been doing since June and July with that low. So we can see Quant about 90% as well, and then got a very strong recovery. So just remember, I'm using Quant personally as my leader, right or wrong, and I'm not interested in Quant right now. I think that we could in fact retrace. I'm trying to use Quant as a potential leader, and of course it worked for Casper and XRP up there. Now we have ALGO right at the 236, whereas there's others that are still a tad lower and have yet to move or battle through their retracements. So looking at HBAR on the weekly chart, we can see the RSI has plenty of room to move when it in fact does. We can see Quant's weekly RSI already ran up, so I'm not super interested in this after it already did a 5x. And of course, you know, there can be exceptions. You can see it piercing overbought and it goes on one heck of a rally. So anything is possible. I'm just much more interested finding something super flat, boring, in consolidation for over 100 days, and also super legitimate. And once again, just because price action or PA sucks, it doesn't mean the project's a scam, guys. We are in a bear market. For anybody that maybe is in their first bear market, they've never experienced this, welcome, because you're going to get your battle scars. Bear markets are rough. They are tough. I've been through a couple. And what I can tell you is that bottoms do not feel like bottoms. You're always going to think that we're going to crash lower. And then one day, some assets begin to retrace and you're going to find leaders. Remember that Chainlink began pumping really hard before every single altcoin as a leading indicator. In 2020, later that year, alts started popping. If you were looking at Link as a leader, you would have realized there's always leaders and laggards in this market. If you can find the leader, you might be able to find the laggard to allocate your money and make some moves accordingly. But its RSI on the weekly basis already came up here. So for me, I'm trying to find something that's a little bit lower that's also legitimate. You can see ALGO's weekly RSI got a bit of a climb, but there still is some upside. We can say the same thing with XRP, as you can see, just another flag forming, could curl up on the weekly basis and climb higher, believe it or not. And same exact thing for Casper, very similar to XRP. And friendly reminder, please be careful buying anything that does a 5x, a 7x, or even an 8x like Zilliqa and Waves. Some of these returned 500 to 800%, and you can see the weekly RSI pierced, followed by a big crash. Of course, there are always exceptions, but I'm just being very careful here, and I would much rather buy when the RSI is lower right there, when it's boring, when nobody's looking at it, when everybody thinks we're going lower. You can see the same thing here with Waves, as we can see at this bottom, and just to re-show you once again, we've been going over this forever. You can see Waves did a 700% increase. That's actually equivalent to an 8x return. I do not want to buy anything, I don't care how great it is, up at that top when the weekly RSI is pierced. It is a gamble. It's a 50-50 coin flip. I would much rather buy when we're at that lower level, as you can see that weekly RSI right there, gauging that momentum and upside. And of course, you can see, even when the RSI is there, we can fall back down. It's never guaranteed to buy the exact bottom. But I definitely feel safer allocating money into something that is yet to move at lower levels because I think the downside is a bit minimized compared to buying something that just pumped 8x. It's crazy because the biggest influencers on crypto Twitter are praised and they're promoting something that just does a 10x and it's a meme coin or a proven rug pull. And we're talking about different assets and actually explaining the technology for several years. And people think you're crazy. So once again, we don't know when this bear market will end. We could have already bottomed, and we could have more downside if Bitcoin crashes to 14K. What you have to do is decide and come up with a plan so that you're ready for either situation to make the most out of whatever comes your way. Investing is not always about being 100% right. It's about having a plan to still get a win, whether it's a big win or a small win in either situation, and continuously adapting and rebalancing your portfolio accordingly. So Waves is an example of a blow off top scenario. I know there's a lot of guys that laugh and scoff if I ever talk about a potential blow off top for Bitcoin or some altcoins. Well, the thing is, there are altcoins that I'm showing you that have done it this year. So is it really that crazy? Waves did a blow off top, creating a new all-time high price, followed by a 90% crash. Zilliqa did about a 6x return, challenging that all-time high price, followed by an 87% drop. So I'm not married to any alts. I will tell you right now, if any of my holdings, and I'm lucky enough to see a 3, 4, 5x in a bear market, I will have no issue getting my initial investment out or taking some profit. If you don't take profit, somebody else will. You can still have long-term holds. For assets that I believe in, I am holding a portion for the long term, whether that's 25%, 10%, you pick a number. I want to have exposure long term, especially when you're just investing with house money. That is one of the best positions to get in. And for anybody brand new to the market getting hammered down by this market, I know it's tough, but this too will pass. Bear markets do not last forever. If you enjoyed this video, I'd greatly appreciate hitting the like button and subscribing. Let me know your thoughts down below. And as always, my link tree is linked right in the top of this YouTube video description with all links, crypto resources, and discounts. I'll catch you in the next one.